Welcome back, welcome back. We're talking with members of the Northern Coaches Association, and we're talking about the state of football, which leads obviously to the obvious question, which I'm going to start with Mr. Denoonan. Mr. Denoonan, recently, last couple of days, we've seen the problems involving a Trinidad and Tobago team that has traveled, a women's team that has traveled to Dallas, encountering problems with the coach having to make certain statements via Twitter, which has led to a conundrum of explanations or excuses from both the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association and the Ministry of Sport. Meanwhile, the tournament will continue. The Gills are due to, of course, finish their camp on the 15th in Dallas, but then they, of course, begin the real earnest test, which is qualification for the World Cup. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, it have business and football.
Yeah.
And they're trying to incorporate the two.
Yeah.
Sometimes the business people make business decisions without considering the football. It affects the football. For example, I remember 1977, we were playing Mexico in the Oval. And we were staying in a certain place on Maurice Street. And the team was staying in Mexico team was staying in Hilton. You know, because my mother worked at Hilton and I was a player staying down. So when I went to visit her, I saw the players there and she was saying, but where are they staying, you know, and when I explained to her the place that we were staying, you know, she, as my mother, she's feeding the Mexicans, and then we can get water to bathe in the place where we were staying. On Maurice Street, opposite the park, for the people who would know that in the 70s, they will know what place I'm talking about. I don't want to call no names, you understand what I'm saying? And it continues where they continue to make business decisions and not footballing decisions, because you make a business decision to keep a team in a guest house because it will cost less money, but the footballers have to suffer because that place don't get no water on certain days and it affecting the whole psyche. And I think that is the area where we are being affected. I remember you know, decisions being taken without considering the footballers at all then. You know what I mean? And it's always a business to save our money, to get our money for this one to eat our food here. And that is why we in this state here, you know, the footballers continue to be the scapegoats. You know, you drop a player because, like me, I went through a number of issues like that personally over the years, where I would stand and say, what you all have in store for the players? And they said, easiest thing to do is get rid of Denoonan. But when they bring a foreign coach, and I was in the army, and the coach would say, oh, who's that number 10 playing? I want it. But the same man who the kick out, because I have clippings still, you know, late call Denoonan, you know, because why? Based on performance. So sometimes down here in Trinidad, when you talk out, they want to ostracize you, victimize you, do all kind of things. But you know, I do business too much about that. My main aim is to educate, inform, reliable, inform, and to help and to assist the youths and the youngsters who want to move forward. And that's what we have been doing for the past 35 years in East Port of Spain and in the North in particular. So the main thing is for the administrators to do what is right to ensure the success, because those girls who went through this trauma, what about them parents? You know, my girl child in that situation, she ain't that. So you understand the whole psychosocial effect it is having. Internationally, we are being embarrassed, and it is time for us to, you know, put an end to this and start from the bottom and do what is right. Ensure in the next couple of years our football could once again be the number one in the Caribbean and in the world. You know, the World Cup players, you know, give us that air, that fresh air, and now, you know what I mean, we really need to get the act together. Otherwise, number of the people who involved would not be continuing. They have even told me that if certain things continue, they're not going to take part. So we really need to change to ensure that the continuity and the success of football, which is for all, let us go forward together, all for one and one for all.
Let me bring in Mr. Moritz before I bring in Mr. Franco. Mr. Moritz, from someone looking in on the well, I do mean that, but looking in on the outside, what are your thoughts about what has transpired over the last couple of days involving the Soca Princesses in Dallas?
Yeah, I say it's definitely embarrassing for the TTFA. I say, you know, there's been many discussions. I've listened to a lot of people give their feedback. One particular point is like, well, they knew this tournament was coming up. You know, so why couldn't things be in place? You know, it's like what happened last year with the Cayman Islands trip as well. Yeah. You know, it's a recurring issue, so something has to be addressed in regards to that. You know, someone has to be held accountable. Because I know, like say, when I was young, going for trials for the regional team, let alone your country, you know, it's a big honour. And so when you're representing your country in a on foreign soil in the US, and you're $500 for the whole team apparently, so this is on what I've heard, it's you know, and people coming from certain areas too, they may not have their money to walk with as well, so like they're relying on the support that they receive, and we have to receive support from other teams. It's a travesty, and I say it's disappointing, to say the least. It has to be addressed, and we have to move forward. It should never happen again.
Carlos, your thoughts?
First of all, I would like to look at the whole decision-making process. To me, in the TTFA, there seems to be a cloud of a mirage of how decisions are being made. How did Randy Waldrum first become the head coach? What was the process, the consultation with the body of the community of football and Trinidad and Tobago? Number 2, what is he being paid? Number 3, is there a process for applying for funds for development or international tournaments? Is this money coming from the high performance fund that they have for elite athletes, right? Because they are elite athletes, right? And they are heading into international tournament, right? Why it is that this strategy is being employed all the time, where you wait last minute to submit your invoices or whatever when the players are about to go into a tournament? Is it a pressure or is it a strategy? Because it is recurring, right? And the administration needs to move away from all these things and become straight with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This what happened here is a manifestation of what is going behind the scene, right? And all of us have gone to school, and we are now a little more, thanks to GATE and whatever, we can discern these situations, right? So, first of all, more transparency in TTFF. How did Mr. Waldrum become the coach? I have no problem with him being the coach. He's a very experienced man, he has a track record, great, right? But it has to be some process of information, right? If the population had known that was the situation, would you think that the population would allow the girls to go with that?
Of course not, yeah.
Of course not. I would have taken my money. Mr. Dillon would have taken, if we had a fund, the Soca Princesses Fund, set up that fund, we'd have taken our money and contributed to it. That's our country, that's our players, not the TTFF and Tim Key and Phillips and all of these guys who think that football is in their pocket, right? The days are done, and we're going to make it known there's going to be a rough season coming ahead, and not only North, trust me, it's not only North, there's a rough season coming.
Do you agree with what the coach did? There have been some debate about the coach tweeted.
Of course, of course. As a coach, if you looking to embarrass me, number 1, I am a coach. My first responsibility as a coach is to the security of my players, well-being of my players. If you send players to me in a foreign country, from a foreign country as a head coach, and I see this is the situation, first thing I need to do is to call the association. If I get no call, no response, nothing, I need to get people involved in and around me to assist alleviate this problem as soon as possible. As soon as possible, right? Him going on Twitter is American culture. Him going on Twitter is American culture. Their freedom of expression, they don't play with that, right? So I think that at the end of the day, that needs to happen in order to wake us up.
So the noon?
Yeah, is a recurring decimal, you know, things that, you know.
No, the part about the coach tweeting it.
No, but the coach, remember, his desperate times calls for desperate actions, you know, and he in a situation where, again, we don't know the intricacies involved, his comment, how much he paying, so he probably trying to secure him. Remember, he's a world-class coach, and if I under this kind of situation and stress, and I could still, because the coach is already thinking in a positive way still, you know. So if I could go through all this and still let them girls perform, better for me. But if them girls don't perform, I stay in front, I don't stay in front already, this preparation wasn't good. So it's a whole cover-up kind of thing, and we go watch and see, and we go wait and see. But I learned, again, being formally at Defense Force means proper preparation prevents poor performances. So if I prepare properly, I don't worry about performance, that would take care of itself.
I would say everyone in this, Twitter, so I'm on Twitter quite a bit, everyone has the right to freedom of speech. You know, if he had said nothing, would have been addressed further. So maybe it's good, he has to express himself too, because I've seen it on Facebook through many people's profiles being shared. It's gathering momentum, and I believe now they're currently not allowed to use Twitter. So it's shown, if that's the case, then it's been a success by him saying that, because it's actually opened people's eyes now, and it put a bit of mud on the TTFA's face. But again, it's better than to cover it over and say nothing. Moving forward now, people have to speak up against injustice or against things that aren't right, because if we can't improve, we're not going to go anywhere. It's going to be the same, spinning wheels in mud as it has been for the last few years.
And of course, the other side of the coin is that from the girls' point of view, the girls will probably feel that the coach has done so much for them now that they might be really willing to pay for this coach, because nobody's ever done that for them before. So they will feel that he has done so much for them. Honestly,
This is the point where I'm trying to say.
So the coach now, he could tell them anything and they will probably do it.
Because remember, the coach is not just a coach, he's a father figure, he's a mentor. It's everything, He's a teacher. And remember, these girls are the future of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
And if these girls don't get a better education, especially up in their minds way right now, boy, because most times we lose because not so much of the technical skill, because like Paul said earlier, Trinidad like nice thing and nice play, but it's when the pressure reach up here, the mental preparation is where we falter. Like this bacchanal here with this thing here, this could break some of the girls down, where some of them now, depending on the environment they come from, home and otherwise, some are able to stand up, and some go in and shell and crying for mommy because they have never been left in this situation. So a psychologist on a team is critical. So I don't know if the national team
has a sports psychologist.
No, I think they said none.
Well, maybe the coach might tweet for one and get through. You know what I mean?
If he tweet, who knows? Right, as we go, let me start first with Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris, what would you like to see happen in the northern zone?
I've always tried to fix the foundation first. Before you build a house, you have to have a solid foundation. I think we need to come together, make sure we're all on the same path. We all have the same goal, the same mission statement, and we're moving forward together. It's possibly done. It's going to take a while. It's going to take people coming together and working hard and to achieve that. So I say I'm all for progression, moving forward, and it's modern day now. There's plenty of tools we can use to help our job easier and more successful.
Mr. Dinoon?
Well, the North and any country in the world, the city does have the best set of football. And everyone would know, in Trinidad and Tobago, the North, you start to be in the North to play for the national team. The North zone produce most of the athletes that want to represent Trinidad at youth level and senior level. And right now, we're at the bottom of the ladder. Like I say, we haven't had no youth football for the past 2 to 3 years. And I would like to see a restoration, first of the grandstand football, and the development and education of the coaches and the kids, so that the future will be positive and bright.
Carlos, Franco?
I like to see that we come together, have a good business plan also. Money is important. We have some strategic plans on the way that we're looking at aspects of where we could improve. As Nevik said, as Paul said, we're building from the bottom. Facilities need to improve. We have to find ways and means to get people back out to view the products that we spend time developing. That is the business of sport, right? And that there be a more collaborative effort. The culture has to change. The super administrator days, according to the president, the days of the super technocrat is over. We need young people coming into the fray now and adding relevant thoughts and ideas towards moving football forward, right? And that is basically where we started right now, so.
Andre, me and pious hopes, right? Pious hopes will only lead to self-delusion, and that is what has been happening to us. We're hoping and praying without working. So self-delusion, but there's nothing cannot happen. Or if we could go forward with collaboration, but one of the main things is enforcement. I don't think we're enforcing the right values. And I think if we could, collaborate and enforce, we will reach the
So you need a change in the North Zone?
Most definitely.
Yeah, of course.
So it's up to you all to do that,
Well,
ultimately,
it will happen.
Up to you all to do it,
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
And hopefully all the clubs understand the drive and the movement. I have no doubt that, the end result will take care of itself.
All right. I want to thank all of you all, certainly. This has been We Sports. This has been Sports Talk. Let me thank Michael Lewis, obviously, and the hardworking Ronald George and UCC Freitas. Good night.